Fusion Mobile, quality e-learning experience on the go.
Hello again and welcome to Fusion Mobile e-learning class. As always, this is civic education and my name is Abubakar Abdul. In this video, we are going to be looking at human rights. We'll be talking about the meaning of human right, the characteristics of human right, categories of human right, and then finally the challenges faced by human rights in the 21st century. Now, when we talk about rights, you know that rights are privileged, entitlement or entitled privileges that every citizen should enjoy in a particular country. If you are citizens of Nigeria, then you have rights as a Nigerian. The right to vote and the right to be voted for, the right to life, the right to freedom of movement, and all those rights, you are entitled to all these privileges. Now, when we're talking about human rights, we're talking about the rights of a citizen, which are the benefits and privileges which he is entitled to enjoy or receive as a citizen of a country. Human rights are the basic natural rights which are essential for human existence, and all individuals are entitled to them and are expected to enjoy them in full. So human rights are essential for human existence because they are basic natural rights, and all individuals are entitled to them and are expected to enjoy them in full. So now, what are the characteristics of human right? There are quite a lot of characteristics of human right, but some of them include: number one, universality. Universality. Human rights are universal. Everywhere, every part of the world, everywhere you go, there are human rights. They are universal. They are always there. So it's a world thing. It's not just this part of the world it only exists in this part of the world. No, it is universal. It is everywhere. That is one of the characteristics of human rights. Number two, human rights are inalienable. This means that they cannot be taken away from an individual and they cannot be given away or be forfeited. Number three, indivisibility. Human rights are indivisible. They are not capable of being divided, whether they are civil and political rights, economic, social, or cultural rights. They are not capable of being divided. Number four, interdependent. Number five, inherent. And number six, fundamental. All these are characteristics of human right. Also, we can add human rights are also relative. Human rights are also relative. That's relativity is another characteristic of human right. Again, another characteristic is human rights are lawful. Of course, we have equal and non-discriminatory. Human rights are equal and non-discriminatory. All these are characteristics of human right. And now let us look at the categories of human rights that we have. But before then, a question is going to pop up on your screen right now, and I'm confident that you're going to answer that question correctly. Here's the question. Welcome back from that, and I hope you answered that question correctly. Now we are going to look at the categories of human rights. Now, some of the categories of human rights include: number one, civil and political rights; number two, economic and social rights; number three, environmental rights. These are basically the three rights we are going to look at. Now we're talking about the civil and political rights. These rights are collectively referred to as the first generation rights. This is because it was the first legally binding of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Remember, previously in one of the videos we did talk about Universal Declaration of Human Rights, where we talked about its brief history and all that. So this category of rights, that's the civil and political right, is the first generation rights because it is the first legally binding of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1966. The treaty is known as the hard right, as they talked about what the government should not do. Now, the second category we said the economic and social rights. These rights are collectively referred as the second generation right or security-oriented right. This is because it was the second treaty to be legally binding of the version of the UDHR, that's the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. This treaty is known as the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural right. And then the final right we mentioned, or the final category of right we mentioned, is the environmental right. Here, obviously, since we said the civil and political rights is the first generation right, and then we talked about the economic and social rights as the second generation, then environmental rights, of course, the third generation rights. Environmental rights are relatively new and concern the environment, peace, security, and development. They equally include protecting the environment from problems such as desertification. Of course, when you hear words like environmentalists, all these people are people who take the rights of the environment serious. These are people who try as much as possible to, should I say, curtail how the environment is being affected by man's activity, affected negatively, if I must add, by man's activity. Industrialization, is one of the big problems the environment is facing currently. So that is the environmental rights, is the third generation rights. So these are the categories of human rights that we have. We have the political, the civil and political rights, we have the economic and social rights, and then we have the environmental right. And then finally, we're going to look at the challenges faced by human rights in the 21st century. Of course, the first challenge is proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. Weapons of mass destruction, if you're observing the world now, lots and lots of countries are creating weapons of mass destruction. It's as if they're just preparing themselves to blow up the world. You have a lot of nuclear tests all over the place, in Korea, in the USA, Germany, all this place, nuclear tests. That is a big challenge of human rights in the 21st century. I don't know if you know about World War II and why the United States actually entered the World War II by declaring war on Japan, after the attack on Pearl Harbor and all, and then the America actually dropped 2 atomic bombs in I think it's Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but I'm not really sure, but I think it's Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right? Okay, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So these weapons, these bombs, cleared these cities off the face of the earth. Imagine a single bomb clearing an entire city. And right now in this 21st century, you have lots and lots of countries actually testing these bombs. It's as if they are preparing the world for calamity or something like that. So that is a big challenge for human rights in the 21st century. Second challenge we have is drug trafficking and abuse. Of course, drug trafficking, not just drug trafficking, even human trafficking. It's an infringement of human rights because you are forcing people to actually do these things. They are not doing it willingly. You are taking them from one place to another illegally without their own consent. All that's human trafficking. Drug trafficking, when you take drugs illegally and move them from the point of production to the point of consumption, we are affecting the society negatively. All these are challenges faced by human rights in the 21st century. And then we have deterioration in ecological environment. Our environment is deteriorating and human existence is threatened. Industries all over the world produce gases that cause the melting of ice and rising of sea level, causing flooding. So now when you hear about flood, when you hear about climate change and all, you can see how industrialization affects it all, or is a cause of it all. That's why you hear environmentalists, when they really want to attack something or an aspect of the economy, they're going to attack the industries, because they're going to say, okay, the gases that they actually, should I say, bring out or pass out through vehicles, or I don't know, I don't really have a term for it, but then again, these gases are very harmful to the environment. And these gases cause a lot of problem for the environment. It causes flooding and all. And that is a big challenge for human rights in the 21st century, because these industries are big. They feel they are above the rule of law. They feel they are above power. So they're infringing the rights of people to freedom of movement, because there's a certain level of pollution that's going to occur that people can no longer move freely. In your place, they'll tell you that you cannot go out because they're trying to contain something. They're trying to contain a spill. They're trying to contain a spill or something like that, a pollution and all that. So that is a big challenge of human rights in the 21st century. And then finally, we have poverty. The level of poverty, take Africa for instance, is very alarming. Very, 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 very alarming. You have countries where children are dying because they cannot afford, okay, not even the children basically, their parents cannot even afford to get them food. It's the right of the child to be taken care of, it's the right of the child to be fed. But then again, what do you expect the children, the parents to do when they cannot afford, there's no job, there's no employment, they cannot afford this money to buy food for their children? That's why I hear children dying all over the world. Places like Ethiopia, places like Somalia, and even in Nigeria here. So all these are challenges of human rights in the 21st century. And that being said, it brings us to the end of this video. As always, if you didn't get something clear, you can go back to the beginning of the video and watch it all over again. Some questions are going to pop up on your screen right about now, and I'm confident you're going to answer them correctly. Until I come your way in the next video, bye bye for now.